Hi, everybody. I just wanted to go through how to do today's assignment with you. So, we're working on our virtual mineral identification lab, and it's a 2-day assignment. So, you can work on it today, Wednesday, the 17th, and tomorrow, Thursday, the 18th. It'll be due at the end of the day tomorrow. Let's read through the instructions together. Using the pictures of the minerals, identify the following 11 minerals. Step 1. Fill out the orange columns in the table for all the minerals based on your observations of the pictures of the minerals. So step 1 is to fill out these 4 columns for all of the minerals. Step 2, using the reference chart at the end of the assignment, fill out the information in the green columns to identify each mineral and record each mineral's hardness and uses. So, after we've filled out all 4 of these columns for all the minerals, we're then going to use the reference chart at the end to identify the mineral's name, its hardness, and its uses. Step 3 is to answer the questions at the end of the table. So if we go back down to the end of our table here, there are 3 questions for you to answer. Please answer them in complete sentences. And once you have answered the questions, then you can submit the assignment in Google Classroom, and then you're done with your work before spring break. So, when we're doing this assignment, we want to make sure that we're practicing using scientific terms to describe the properties of our minerals. So, I gave you some vocabulary words to practice using for luster and for breaking patterns. So, luster, remember, is how the mineral looks. Is it metallic? Is it shiny like a metal? Is it non-metallic? Is it dull or not shiny? Is it glassy, transparent, or translucent, kind of like glass? Earthy, dull and kind of grainy? Or pearly, iridescent and soapy? So when we're filling out the luster column for each mineral, please use at least one. You can use 2 if you find it. If you feel like there's 2 words in there that describe that particular mineral, but use one of the words, at least one of the words from the luster category to fill out the luster column. You don't need any other words, just these words right here. Then when we're filling out the breaking patterns column, we should be using these words. So breaking patterns would be things like cleavage. Does the mineral break along flat planes or in thin sheets? Or is it does it exhibit fracture? Does it have uneven breaks? If you see that it does exhibit cleavage, so that it breaks along flat edges, you can also, if you are able to see, describe how many sides it will break along. So does it just break along one? Will it like flake off like a sheet? Or will it break evenly along 2 sides, 4 sides? You can describe that as well. Let's go through an example together. We'll work through the first one. So then you actually only have to identify 10 minerals. So here's my first picture. If I can't see the picture very well, I can definitely click on it and make it bigger so that I can take a better look at it. All right, well, I'm going to start off by describing the color. I'm going to say that this is clear, light, and some light blue. All right. Maybe a little bit gray around the edges. Right, so now I've described the color. I'm going to hop over to my next column and describe the luster. So remember, I'm going to use one of these words to describe the luster of this mineral. And I think it's quite translucent, almost transparent. So I'm going to say it's glassy. All right. Now I'm going to look at the streak. So again, you can make this picture bigger if you need it bigger to see it. To me, it looks like that's a white streak, maybe light blue. White. Oop. White or light blue streak. And now the breaking patterns. So if I look at this one, it has some really clean edges, and it kind of looks like it, I think it exhibits cleavage because of how flat the edges are. So I'm going to say, ooh, my mouse isn't working now. I'm going to say that it exhibits cleavage. Right. So then what I would do next is I would go down to mineral number 2, and I would do the exact same thing for mineral number 2 all the way through mineral number 11. Once you've finished filling out all 4 columns, all 4 orange columns for all the minerals, then what you can do is this. I'm going to scroll down to the end of the assignment, and I'm going to look at this table. So based on what I just wrote in column or in row number 1 for that particular mineral, I'm going to try to identify that mineral. So my table has kind of 2 major categories, metallic luster and non-metallic luster. The mineral that I was just looking at didn't have a metal-like shine, so it was non-metallic. So I'm going to look down here. And I don't know the hardness. I'm going to write down the hardness, but I don't know the hardness yet. It did exhibit cleavage, so I'm going to look at all of the ones that have cleavage as an option. And then I'm going to look at the colors. So remember, color can sometimes be very helpful, but sometimes it's not the most helpful. So this might give us some hints as to what we might be looking at, but maybe it won't necessarily be totally where we get our answer. It wasn't white, it wasn't yellow, it wasn't pink. It was colorless, but it wasn't yellow, so I'm not going to say it was that one. Colorless to white, not really. Definitely wasn't black or brown. Colorless to variable. Well, variable means that there's lots of options, so that could be it. I'll have to keep calcite in mind. All right, colorless to variable. That's another possibility. Dolomite. All right, colorless or variable. All right, so I've got 3 possibilities. I've got calcite, dolomite, and fluorite so far. Let's see. Otherwise, we've got nope, 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 nope. Colorless or variable. All right. Okay, quartz. So I've narrowed it down to 4 different possibilities. I've got calcite, dolomite, fluorite, and quartz as my options. So now what I need to do is I need to look at some other descriptive features in this column to see if I can identify which one it is. Calcite, bubbles with acid. Well, we weren't able to test that, so calcite could still possibly be correct. Also, dolomite bubbles with acid. I don't know. Those are possible. Ooh, fluorite cleaves in 4 directions. That could be possible based on how cubic the fluoride sample that we saw, or the mineral sample that we saw was. It could be fluorite. How about quartz? Glassy luster. We did see that it was glassy, but it may form hexagonal crystals. It didn't form hexagonal crystals. They were very cubic. So I'm going to say it's definitely not quartz. All right. Well, since we can't test calcite or dolomite, I'm going to say that those are possible, but Based on the cleavage patterns of fluorite, I think fluorite is my best option. So I'm going to say that my mineral sample was fluorite. So I'm going to write that up here in my table. Fluorite. All right, so now I'm going to go back down and I'm going to look at the hardness and the uses for fluorite. And I'm going to record these in this column as well. So here was fluorite. It had a hardness of 4. And what are its uses? Hydrofluoric acid. All right. So we have a hardness of 4 and hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so that is what you'll do. You'll fill out the first 4 orange columns for all the minerals. Then you'll go back and you'll try to identify them. Some of them might be trickier than others, and some of them might be really easy. And if you don't get them right, that's okay. That's why we're practicing. You can go ahead and write my answers from fluorite into your table and go ahead and complete the rest. Send me an email if you get stuck or if you need some help, and good luck.